Welcome to Faces Friday. I'm Lynn Sherritt, and we're enjoying summer in Canada. During the last weeks, I've been talking to you about typical interview questions. How do I view learning walks and talks and instructional coaching? All the questions that I get asked frequently. And in this Faces Friday, Frank Daum, principal in the Eastern region of Melbourne Archdiocese Catholic Schools in Victoria, talks about how his journey has empowered his staff by using the Clarity tools. So Frank talks about the classrooms now becoming canvases of learning, and I really love that phrase. And he talks about exploring those classrooms and canvases of learning with teachers, leaders, and parents doing learning walks and talks. Have a listen.
This is probably the most influential professional learning. And I think probably when we first started some years back now, at first in, I suppose, our professional learning with the staff, just around the 14 parameters, the initial thing was, all right, here's something new, but as you sort of go along, as staff have gone through the journey, I think they've really come to realise that every element of those 14 parameters has its own place. They're inextricably linked to one another. And so we've seen a whole change in, I suppose, our pedagogy and teaching practice throughout the school too. So when we first started, we had writing, because our writing was low, as our data had indicated. And so we started looking through the 14 parameters through the lens of our writing, and it's subsequently gone on to maths, because our literacy leader in Nikki and our maths leader in Cara work closely together, and you can see all the links that actually go through and in all areas of the curriculum. And I think one of the things that we've sort of noticed, particularly now, when we're over 3 years down the track, is just the face of, apart from the dialogue and the language that we use as a staff, is the appearance of our classrooms, right? They've changed. I think classrooms, and we've reflected on this a little bit this year, classrooms used to be a place where you'd go in and you'd have all your very neat charts and things like that. You'd have your beautifully placed pieces of artwork and so forth. And, that can still happen, and that's a place for that. But they've become almost, the walls have become canvases of learning, is one way I'd sort of describe that. So even when I've taken out parents from our school board around on learning walks, other parents on learning walks, and when we go on school tours, the first thing I say to them is, don't only just look at what the children are actually discussing and learning at the time, go right up to the walls and have a really close look, because you will understand what they've been focusing on. Because, and I'll say, and some charts will look neat and some will be messy, because we'll have anchor charts, we'll have our bump it up walls, we'll have, for instance, our co-constructed learning intentions and success criteria. Okay, so sometimes it might look like it's neatly written because the teacher has actually transcribed it, but it's actually come from consultation, collaboration with the students themselves as well. So that's been, I suppose, a real tangible shift that we've noticed throughout our school. And it's a great thing to highlight when you are taking parents on a school tour. And I really force them all the time to take their time and go up to the walls and have a really good look. And if there's any questions or so, they'll ask those. But the interesting thing was, I took our school advisory board, or school advisory councils, as they're now called, 2 meetings ago. We did a walk around through all the classrooms late one night, and they were talked about bump it up walls, which they saw, and they said, oh, look, my child Abby, was talking about this sort of thing, and I've heard this sort of language, but it was great for them to actually see it and experience it firsthand.
Thanks very much for joining me on this Faces Friday. I really enjoy talking to you about what works best when we collaboratively lead learning. So join me next week on our next Faces Friday. Thank you.